Here.
Here.
Bob McAfee.
Here.
David Pyle.
Here.
Roger Spencer.
Here.
Lynn Now.
Here.
If you all please stand and join me in our pledge of allegiance and the invitation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you pray with me? Father, as we begin another session of the Board of Alderman here in Carl Junction, grant us vision to see beyond the present and to plan for our future where our city thrives. God, guide our decisions towards progress, growth, and a better quality of life for all. In your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Rick. Next is approval of the agenda. Are there any comments or changes to the agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Rick Lund to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, the agenda is approved. Next is approval of the consent agenda, which is approval of the minutes of the previous meeting on March 18th and approval of disbursements. From the comments, changes, or questions about the consent agenda? Yes.
I have a question on an expense that we paid. And this is part of a larger conversation that I'm gonna have, in the administrator report, I guess. Why on earth did we pay Optic Communications $390 for internet service? Or water tower?
That was equipment, and some of it, I've got calls in with Dave. He had us at 1 gig worth of service on it, which we do not need for what's going on there. And I pointed out that it was the contract on it, and he was reworking that stuff, the invoice and everything. Part of it is though for the equipment, which we would have to pay for.
Is that equipment purchased through Optic?
Yes,
It's rented, right?
it's rented. Yeah, it's rented.
Should we be purchasing this equipment on our own? Are we gonna pay a lot of money to rent this stuff?
That is really debatable. 6 of one, half dozen of another. It works out to about the same, but it is not your standard equipment because of the location on it. It is hardened, so that's fairly expensive. But
Okay.
And if it goes down, they have to service it for nothing.
Okay, that's my question on that. If you can I see a copy of that invoice? Not right now. Okay. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
So Holly Devine, second by Allen, to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, none opposed. The consent agenda is approved. Next is public forum, and then we'll speak in public forum. Yes? Oh, I gotta read this, Roger. Richard, I'm sorry. All persons wishing to speak to the mayor and board of aldermen during the public comment portion of the meeting should come forward one at a time and stand at the podium and say your name and address and subject matter you wish to comment upon. All comments should be directed to the mayor in a civil manner. Comments are limited to 5 minutes unless the mayor or board of aldermen grants additional time. It is the mayor's responsibility to make certain these rules are followed and maintain order and decorum. If you have a question, the mayor and board of aldermen may, of course, provide an immediate response. However, the mayor and board of aldermen may also provide no response or response at a later time as they deem appropriate. Go for it.
You really need to do those radio announcements at the very end where they say 500 words. Richard Garrett, 1021 Copper Oaks. On January the 7th, I came here and spoke in a public forum and talked about streetlights. At that time, my main concern is the decorative streetlights that are on Pennell Street, Main Street, and generally from Pennell to the City Hall. I mentioned that there are 4 streetlights that are out, that have been out for quite some time. I had reported them probably a year earlier. At that meeting, I was told, whatever they are, Liberty is working on it. It is now 3 months later. When I came to the meeting last night, 4 streetlights between Pennell and this building are still out. To me, that seems like an absolutely unreasonable amount of time for the city of Carl Junction and or Liberty to get light bulbs replaced in the street? Has there been any follow-up with Liberty about where those stand in regard to the 75 or so that Madonna found in town? And is there a process that has been put in place for Carl Junction to evaluate where they are in regard to streetlights? Public Works, police, whomever. Has action been taken to put a process in place so that we don't get into this situation again?
Go ahead.
I know, like, after the meeting last time, I went out again and got the numbers. Again,
I have pictures of the numbers as well.
and after that, I could have sworn one night we came up and checked, and like all but one was working. Am I wrong about that? I mean, is it actually a power issue that maybe it's fluctuating, or do we know? Because we came, did the drive-through, and I thought Stuart had looked down and said part of them were working. But I mean, I may be wrong. They may
They
not.
weren't working on Friday night when I drove by, and they weren't working again last night.
Yeah, then they definitely. Has Rick got him out here? I mean, have they came out and checked him, or?
Yeah, they've been out a couple of times actually, and then the police department gave me some numbers last week. Again, I did not look to see if they were the same numbers, which I can do, but they gave me some numbers too. So.
I know, I don't know that they've got any written procedure in place, but I know I did talk with the chief, and he said he was going to talk to his officers too about at night when they're around, like,
That's good.
them anything they caught to record.
However, how is the follow-up with
Liberty.
to actually do some work? Seems to me like it's not happening.
When's the last time you had any communication with them, Steve?
Last week. They never send us anything saying that they have been out. It is only if we happen to see them out and about. That's the only way. They don't send us a copy of their work order that, anything like that.
Can we email them and ask them if they can identify which numbers they came out and taken care of already, so we can wipe them off of our list?
Mhm.
And that way, maybe it will spur them to realize maybe they've missed some. Because I agree, I don't like paying for them if they're not working. Or maybe they could give us a refund for the ones that haven't.
Yeah, good luck. It's kind of like they're the only electric company in town.
But kind of like if you don't say anything about anything, you don't get anything.
What gets me is though, if you call Liberty and like this deal here, go out to North Main Street Baptist Church and you'll find 4 or 5 of them sitting there doing nothing.
Yep. Anyone else like to speak at public forum? Yes.
Uh-oh. This can't be good.
Renee Lance, 2510 North Florida, Joplin, Missouri. Did I miss something?
No?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that I appreciate you, Mark. My first couple of weeks here, I got a phone call up front. I'm going to tell on myself. They asked to speak to Mark. I'm sorry, we don't have a Mark here. I got off the phone, turned around, spoke to the other ladies in the office. No, Renee, the mayor's name is Mark. Chief's name is Mark. And judge's name is Mark. That's mayor, chief, and judge. They're not Mark. But in 3 years, I've come to appreciate you, Mark.
Well, thank you.
Your leadership, by example, your common sense to look at things the way that you have. And with the new election coming up, I just want to say I appreciate your service.
Thank you very much. Appreciate what you do for us too. Anyone else like to speak at public forum? Last call for public forum. Very well, then moving right along to ordinances. First is ordinance approving the 2026 fiscal year budget.
Move it for this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by David Fowler, put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance adopting the 2026 fiscal year budget.
Discussion. Everyone has probably had a chance. We got it last week, like 2 weeks ago. Look at it. Any comments, any changes you think, or anything's wrong? Did anybody talk to the budget committee about it? If you did, found anything?
I have not received any communication.
Okay.
I would just say that I was on the budget committee for, I don't know, 3-4 years. And this is the first time that I wasn't on it, and it's nice to not be on it. Just throw that out there. There's a lot that goes into putting this budget together, and I just appreciate Donna and all the hard work that the team does to put this together. And just want to say thank you for that. That's all I have.
Any further discussion?
So those two basically, but I appreciate it. It's a good committee, so.
How about second reading?
Make a motion, we put the ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by David Pyle, second by
Me.
Roger Spencer to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance adopting the 2026 fiscal year budget.
Any further discussion?
Make a motion, we put the ordinance on final passage.
Second.
Motion by David Pyle, second by Roger Spencer to put this ordinance on final passage. This will be a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Eight in the affirmative, please vote electronically. 8 in the affirmative, none against. The ordinance passes, and is ordinance number
2508.
2508. Thank you. Next is an ordinance establishing salaries for the city employees effective March 1st of 2025.
Move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by David Pyle, to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance establishing salaries for city employees effective May 1st, 2025.
Discussion.
I have a question. I know I've asked this before. I think it's weird that the city treasurer makes more than the city mayor. I thought maybe that was in the code for the salaries, but it's not. It just says,
That's because you can't increase an elected official's salary after they're in office for an election. And when they do the budget, like she gets an increase, like we get 3% or whatever, 2%, whatever, she's getting that, yeah. Mike did that years ago, he thought about that, but it's like, yeah, this is the same salary that Mike made 8 years ago. And like I said, I can't get a raise while I'm in office until it's effective after a new election. You know, we could have done it 2 years ago or something like that, and that's the only reason. And I don't feel like I needed a raise.
yeah. I don't know. It just seems very weird to me that we do value the treasurer higher than the head of the city. And also, I was reading the code a little bit. I know we get the treasurer's report from that person, but we're also supposed to get a yearly address to council, I thought. Is that something that we do? Does she prepare something? I've been on council nearly 3 years and I've never met her or seen anything like that.
An annual report, I don't. I'm gonna ask Walter, since he's the one that's been here the longest out of all of us. Do you ever remember anything?
I don't remember one. I got 15 years in, I've never had an annual report.
I've got over 13.
That might be something that we're missing out of the code that we're not doing, that we should have.
Yeah, but
We're gonna look into that, Steve.
Write it down, yes, sir.
and then I just have one more point. This was kind of random. It also is weird that we approved these salaries in the budget the week before the election.
I know it's by statute on when we do them, but the state requires it, correct? That they be done so far before our fiscal year starts, or is that just our statute?
Usually, election night and budget night are on the same night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This month, it's off a little
This
bit
month
because
it's
of
off.
that, and it is a week.
Because the first Tuesday is after the first Monday.
I'm not saying there would be any changes one way or the other, just an observation.
And that's something I've thought about too, but then I thought if you've got newly seated aldermen, that's like their first meeting or second meeting, they really don't have a lot of background into what's been going on. So I can see it both ways. Like you've got people that are just being seated that don't have a say, but then again, they don't have the experience that's happened over the past year, so.
That was all. If anybody else has any discussion.
Anything else? Any other discussion?
Make a motion to put it on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Wilkie Hayes, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Clerk, please read the title.
An ordinance establishing salaries for city employees effective May 1st, 2025.
Any further discussion?
I had a question. When is the last time the alderman got a raise? $25 a meeting. I know, at least for myself, we don't do it for.
Hadn't been 15 years.
Seems like we did one where it went from 20 to 25.
That's before I got on.
2 years ago, started doing it for committee meetings as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we
2 years
changed
ago,
that,
we went to all meetings, not just
Well,
alderman meetings.
We actually started going by what was in the code,
Yeah,
because the code said meetings, but we had never.
and it would have to be the same procedures what the mayor just talked about. The fact that
So for the next budget cycle, when we're doing it, we could suggest it then?
it would be for the 26-27 budget cycle that you could
After
do
the
it
election. Okay.
for.
And that means 4 of them could get the,
Yeah,
Raise and
4 of
could
you would
not.
get a raise that time, and then
Yeah.
it'd be another one
Yeah.
for, yeah.
Make a motion to put the ordinance on final passage.
Second.
motion by David Pyle, second by Roger Spencer, to put this ordinance on final passage. This will be a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, please vote electronically. 8 in the affirmative with none against. That is ordinance number,
2509.
thank you very much. Next is an ordinance appointing chief officers to the city for the ensuing year.
If we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Rick Flynn, to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance appointing city officers to the city of Carl Junction to serve the ensuing year until new officers are duly appointed.
Discussion? I believe these are all our current appointed officials.
If we put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Carol Wolford, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance appointing city officers to the city of Carl Junction to serve the ensuing year until new officers are duly appointed.
Further discussion?
Will we put this ordinance on final passage?
Second.
Motion by Rick Flynn, second by Don Allen, to put this ordinance on final passage. This will be a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. In the affirmative, please vote electronically. 8 in the affirmative, none against, and that is ordinance number,
2510.
thank you very much. Next is the administration report. Any comments for the city administrator or clarifications?
2 things on there. One was the Parks Wi-Fi that Holly had brought up 2 weeks ago. I was wrong. I apologize for that. There would be some costs involved in getting that installed. I put those in. There would be monthly costs on that too, because that is a public system that we do not want tied to our private system. You don't want to make those connections because everybody and their brother would be on it, and you just the chances of bad things happening increase, and so you would have to have a firewall there. So that is on item number 9.
Like to pause there. I don't think you were wrong when you said that last week, right?
I thought I said that it wouldn't cost us.
Correct?
Right.
Yeah.
It will cost us.
Okay, so part of our agreement with Optic is we gave them that property for their building for $10. We do not charge them a franchise fee in exchange for internet to city properties.
And if for the cameras and stuff like that, there's no charge.
No. Internet to city properties. This contract has no stipulations, no anything like that. Okay, so I did a little math today. I called Optic, found out how many customers they have in Carl Junction. I looked up what an internet service provider franchise fee would be to the municipality in which they reside. We would be making $5,800 to $9,000 a month in franchise fees. Are we receiving like services for that amount?
Probably not for that amount. I mean, everything in this building we don't pay for. Public Works, 2 locations does not pay for. The PD in the court system, we don't have a fee for.
How is there a guest network on this building?
It's a separate network from what our network is.
We have 2 separate lines from Optic to this building.
Yes. We actually have 4 lines from Optic into here.
And do we pay for any of them?
No.
Okay, so why can't we do that to our city properties? All along that we've been installing this Optic, I've been asking the whole time, will the CJFC be able to hook up their cameras to this system? Yeah, no problem. Will the BYAA be able to hook up their cameras to this system? No problem. And now we're saying we have to get a separate network. We've got to pay $1,300 per park. We've got to pay service to them. It's like we have these agreements and nobody is looking out for our best interest.
Why do we need the public Wi-Fi at the park?
To have our cameras for our groups that have their equipment out there to keep them safe. And it is a public service. We let Optic come into our town, use our roads, use our right-of-ways, dig into our alleys, whatever they do. I mean, it's great that we receive internet to the building, and I'm appreciative of the service to my home, but are we getting our end of the deal held up here? I don't think that we are. And I feel this would be a major hurt to our citizens. You know, we're not collecting this money. That's on behalf of our citizens. And, you know, if a kid does not have internet at home, they could go to the park and do their homework. They could take their Chromebook, get their stuff done. You know, we have the Bluegrass Festival. The internet is always terrible down there. Vendors complain they can't run their cards, do their things. You know, we got all these events in town. The internet would be very valuable. It would be valuable for our citizens. Why can't we make this happen? I got the contract with Optic here. There's nothing in this contract that says anything about any restrictions, any caps on how much data we can do. It says 2 city properties. It does say that we have to pay for the equipment. Okay, I'm willing to do that.
So does the firewall, that's just something we didn't know about when we made the contract, but now it's something that would just protect the city more? Is that what we're talking about? Because that's.
No, we use, it is necessary. We have firewalls here because municipalities and school districts, along with healthcare, are the top items for hackers to get into. And so we have to have that firewall to.
So as far as the firewall, like down at the park or something, that's $495.
Yeah, that was, with SNS was that firewall license that you have to pay. I mean, we pay a firewall license.
Oh, that's not for Optic then?
No, that's SNS. That's installation with SNS computers.
Okay. So they, other than the equipment, then they are giving us internet for free.
No, They're saying pay for service,
We
$82
would have
or
to pay for
$84 or
service.
whatever per park.
For that at the park because of that separation between a private and a public access point.
It's gonna be a guest network, the same as we have at this building right here.
So when we had talked the other day, you said that there was something that showed you got one hookup, 1 gig, whatever. Is
One
there,
gig
is there
the
something
speed,
in
not the
writing?
amount.
Is there something in writing we have that shows they will provide one hookup to all of those facilities? Because if it says,
Holly has of the contract, it just lists the facilities.
but it doesn't say
It doesn't
a
say
limit.
how,
says
you know,
the
whether it's
internet
10
is
meg
ran
or
to the
1
curb.
gig, it doesn't say that.
Of each property. That says they will provide the internet, we will provide the equipment.
But it doesn't say, did you say it's 1 gig? Somebody made a noise.
1 gig is the speed of
Yeah,
the
but-
internet, it's not the amount.
But it
of
doesn't
data.
show how many drops or anything they're gonna do there.
Just says internet to the curb. It didn't say anything about this $84 access for each park.
Because they are making that separation between a public and a private one. We do not want them on the same network. We
Can-
don't want them attached to the same pieces of equipment. We need to keep up, just like this one here, and we had this one, that public network here, the guest network here, was put in long before Optic was here. It was with,
MediaCom.
no,
No. Oh, yeah.
Whisper.
Whisper.
And it's continued with that.
And I understand the difference between the public and the private, but even though it's a public network, we're still gonna own it.
Mhm.
So I can see what Holly is saying, because even if it's a guest, if it's still the city's service, we just have that one open to guests. Is there, when you look at the money and everything they have made, have we actually got them to sit down and talk and explain, hey, this is a very small investment for what your return is to be in the city?
No, you guys have never invited them back in after they got the network up and running to be able to talk to them and that, you know, and have that conversation.
Maybe that's something that we need to talk with them and see if we can get, like say, I mean, it's not a dire emergency to me that we put it in. But if it's useful and if it is something that there's nothing in the contract that says we won't get it. Maybe.
I can invite him in for the next meeting, absolutely, that's not a problem.
Where did you get these numbers from? If we haven't talked about.
I got the $84 a month from Optic, and I got the others from Scott at SNS.
So I'm trying to understand. So you called Optic and you were like, we need service at these locations?
Mhm.
Why weren't you just like, okay, this is part of our city property plan?
I did. I mean, that was my assumption, is that this was part of the city plan. That's when they said, no, this is not.
Okay, so yeah, if you're not gonna negotiate that with them, we need to set up something where we can speak to them. Please.
I have a question. The guest network here, is it filtered in some way so that if there are anybody actually using it, that they can't access content that we would not?
It is totally separated from our network.
For like inappropriate.
Right.
meaning, like an issue we had in the media center
I-
when it opened.
Yeah, when we first started, no, there wasn't, and that's when we had the computers over in the media center, and those got abused quickly. And that's when we separated things, was at that time, years ago. So I don't believe there's any type of filter on those. I don't use that system, so I'm not sure.
And I think that was something that we would need to be conscious of, because we don't want anyone, but especially not a young person, to access a network that we're providing and use it to access content that they should not. And I know this is you haven't had time to study this, but I don't know if there are legal implications associated with that or things that we would need to
No, I
consider.
haven't, for sure. It's a big subject.
Right.
So for our guest network here, are we paying any kind of fee for that?
No.
And it's through.
That I do not know. I was just thinking that might still be on the Whisper. And the reason we dropped Whisper is because when they started doing hookups and everything, somehow they pulled those networks up, and Whisper was a totally open network. They could identify where their equipment was, and this was Optic that was doing it. They could identify where Whisper's equipment was and identify whether it was a closed or an open network, however they do that. And at that time, I said, we can't be doing that. We have got to separate those two and keep it done. And as far as I know, we do not have any other connections with Whisper. That might be the only one.
The one here.
Yeah.
So then if we fix that, then they're going to charge us $84 for this building.
Possibly. If it's not on Whisper, I'd have to find out from, I can ask Scott which network it's on.
I think we just need to visit with them and figure it out. That's all.
Can you talk about the road district, please?
Yeah, pretty straightforward there with Senator Carter has posted all of this and has gotten people making moves on it. I do know that there was a advertisement or notification put out to disband the Joplin Special Road District in Newton County. And I assume that there will be one coming in from Jasper County, if it hasn't already been put out there. We did at that last meeting, we did get a verbal commitment from the commissioners that they would, some of that money that they're holding for Joplin Special, they would use for Road and Robert Drive. The separation of the road district for us is a different process as laid out by statute. It is where they only had to have 50 signatures from Newton County and 50 signatures from Jasper County for the commissioners to start the process. Ours is 50% of the acreage and approximately 15,000 acres in Carl Junction Special Road District. So we would have to come up with 7,500 acres worth of people to do that. I do have that list of largest to that 7,500 mark, somewhere in that area, with owners and the number of acres that they own and that type of thing.
But that's just Carl Junction Special?
Yeah, that's just Carl Junction.
What about Joplin Special?
Joplin Special is because that's separate.
It's a different deal.
So, but I mean, so we don't have to do it, it's just the 50?
We don't
Right.
have to do that
Right.
one for that one. And the list, because top 15 or 20 or whatever it is on the list is the city, the acreage that we own, and the school district. We've eliminated those since we're taxing entities. Probably not right that we could sign off on disbanding another taxing entity. So we left those off and we went just with private ownership.
Do we have that much acreage?
We're in the
I
top
mean,
list.
you gotta go outside the city limits though too, right?
Oh,
Yes. Yeah, have
Oh,
to
yeah.
hit the whole road district.
And basically, to me, it's a no-brainer. If I was living outside there, you're gonna save 30% on your property taxes.
It is because of the
Because-
difference in it. What
Well-
county common is at 20 cents.
You're not gonna save 30 cents.
No.
No.
I mean,
It's
30%.
30%.
30%.
How are we saving 30%?
Because your tax bill will go down by that
Yeah,
30%.
instead of
Right.
being 29 cents, it's gonna be 20 cents.
Yes,
Okay,
your tax levy will go down.
okay, but if you're going from 29 to 20, 9 cents is not 30% of your taxes.
So, okay,
30% of your road taxes is what you mean.
yes. that's
Yeah,
what
Yeah,
I said.
not your total.
Yeah,
No,
no,
that's
not your
total
total
tax.
tax.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I was like, there is no
It's-
way.
No, it's that assessment to the road district.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Your road district taxes will be
Yeah.
down 30%.
Yeah, that will be
Yes.
a good one. Yeah, because I was
Yes.
like, wait, that
No,
math,
no,
that ain't
no,
mathing.
no. It's the road district taxes.
Okay, got it.
Um,
That's
Doesn't
good.
affect the
That's good
school
news.
district or the city or the fire district or any of that other stuff.
it would just be, it would save them 30% on that road district valuation.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Tax on it.
Plus, you'll have a central,
Yes, plus the county will do it, and the county
yeah,
wants to,
central agency.
if that happens, the county wants to use the Carl Junction Special Road District building for their station, and stuff like that, which would even more benefit us.
They'll get the equipment, they'll get the building and the property.
Yeah.
And all of that.
Would there be any other benefits to the city with that expanding?
The other benefit is that going forward, that working with the county and the county